All right, today we're going to be making what is called pear cinnamon preserves. And we're going to start by doing, just so you guys know if you're looking at your recipe, we're going to do a half recipe. I have set up, we're going to be using the small stock pot. And I have 3 large pears ready to go. I've washed them. So what we want to do is we want to definitely peel the skin off the pears. And when you go ahead and dice these up as small as you can. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to go ahead and peel it. Now these are pretty ripe. So if your pears aren't quite ripe, they're a little harder, that will be okay. You just don't want them mushy. You're better off having an underripe pear than an overripe pear. So I'm going to push this off to the side, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and go right down just off center, almost to where you just can see the core. You need to make sure you do remove all the seeds. This I cut a little bit in, so I want to make sure I get that little core out because it does not break down in the cooking process. And then I can see where the other little seeds are. And I really want as much pear as you possibly can. So cut it really nice and thin. And then again, do a very small dice on your pear. You can leave your pear so that it doesn't have to be blended at the end, so you can have a little bit more of a chunkier pear. Depending on how much it breaks down, you might be able just to go ahead and mash it with the potato masher, and that will give you a nice small little chunky jam. So again, go ahead and cut them up nice and small, almost like if you guys remember back to when we did the fried rice. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish cutting all 3 of these. I'll get them in the pot and then we'll move on. Okay, so I have diced my pears. They're into my pot, and I'll leave that right here. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and combine the fruit with the sugar. I know it's a lot of sugar. The water, it's a half a cup of water. And we're going to go ahead and take, you guys are going to get a cinnamon stick. And what I'd like you to do is break that in 2, because you're going to get 2 small jars, and we actually put the cinnamon sticks in that jar. So take your cinnamon stick, break it in half, and you're going to just put those in there. And we're going to go ahead and put this on the stove, and we're going to go ahead and stir that. But while that's starting to heat up, I want you to go ahead and also make your little kind of your little satchel bag. So I'm going to give you some cheesecloth. You're going to get a little square of this, and I just bought this right in the grocery store in the baking section. And what you want to put in there is, I took the ginger, I didn't even bother peeling it, and I just made little slices out of it. You can make little chunks, and I'm going to put them in here. And then you're going to add your teaspoon of the cloves, maybe just a couple more. So maybe that's about 15, 20 little cloves, okay, right in the middle. And then I'm also going to give you some butcher's twine. And what you want to do is bring all your corners up together and bring it all up so none of those cloves can fall out, okay? And the reason we do this is it's much easier to pull this out of the jam than to try to dig out each and every single one of those little cloves. So tie a knot, Okay, and I actually take and be really careful about the excess and cut it off because it will absorb some of that liquid and we don't want it to. So just make it sure it's tied tight. And I even cut a little bit of the extra string. So I leave one on there. And a little trick that you can do is you want to bury it, but if you have like one of those binder clips, you can take this and even pinch it on the side. But we're not doing too big of a pot, so I'm just going to cut it. I will be able to dig it out and find it. All right, that's going to go onto the stovetop, and we want this to start to come to a boil. And what I have is a candy thermometer. Now, if you don't have a candy thermometer, I'm going to go ahead and give you an approximate time of how long to allow that mixture to boil. So once that mixture starts to cook down, I'm going to put this in, and we're looking for it to register 220 degrees. I'm going to tell you it's going to be about 30 to 40 minutes. So I'll come back and show you what that looks like once it's starting to cook. All right, so it's been about 10 minutes that I put the mixture onto the stove, and I had it on kind of a medium high. Now I'm going to tell you, it's not something you want to walk away from. You want to watch it. I've now turned it down to a medium, and what you're looking for is that you are having those continual bubbles, okay? If you're just simmering, then you're not cooking it enough. So you want it at a pretty rapid boil, but you need to make sure in the beginning it could boil over. So then you're definitely too high. Again, that's why you don't want to walk away from it. You don't want it boiling over and burning. So I've turned it down to about a medium. I've set my timer for 30 minutes, and I do have my candy thermometer now. And I am going to go ahead and just stick my candy thermometer in, and I'm going to keep an eye on it. I'll let you know how long we're going to cook it for until we reach that 220 degrees. All right, the timer just went off. 30 minutes. This is what you guys are going to set, okay? And I want you to really get in there and see how it is at that boil, and that's what you need it to be for that full 30 minutes, okay? So that's going to get you up to the 220. Now, what I've done is I've prepared these 2 jars, just like we did for our pickling. So remember, you need to put these in hot boiling water, not your lids, because you want that wax ring to seal when it hits the heat of the jam, not in the water. All right. I can't tell you guys so many times, you need to be extremely careful with this, okay? This is 220 degrees. This is so hot, and you're talking easily a major 2nd degree burn if this was to touch you, okay? I'm going to tell you, it's so tempting to like want to stir it and then lick the spoon. Oh my God, please don't. But what you need to do at this point is to go in, and I'm going to use a pair of tongs, okay? Get you in here. And you're going to do 2 things. You're going to find your cinnamon sticks, and you're going to put 1 in each of your jars. And then if any little pieces of cinnamon have broken off, put those on a paper towel. That's going to be trash. And then you're also going to go in and you're going to find that little bag, that cheesecloth that had the ginger and the cloves, and you're going to throw that out and don't touch that. So again, I found some more cinnamon. And just go in here and kind of check it. The cinnamon just doesn't blend up really nicely. So you want to make sure you pull it out. Now, if you're going to put this into a blender, okay, I would use the smallest blender you have. I would not use plastic, or you need to let this set for, I would say maybe let it set for about 30 minutes and then blend. I happen to have one of the Cuisinart hand blenders. You need to do it quickly. There is one, you need to be very careful. There's a little rubber gasket on the bottom. If you have one of these, you can use it. Make sure when you turn it on, it's completely submerged. And in fact, I'm going to even turn my pot to the side. And I'm going to puree it. And it will spit. And if it gets on you, it's going to hurt. So, be very careful. I'm going to take that off. Put this in water right away. All right, then take your 2 jars, and I'm going to use a spoon, and go ahead and pour your jam right in, and go just, try to do even amount on both. A little bit more just to the top. Oh my gosh, perfect. Look at that. Okay, you want to make sure you have enough room to put that wax ring on. So, all right, if you let this cool, you can scrape out the pot and give it a taste, but I'm serious, you need to let that cool. All right, these are warm. Put your lids on. Okay, do it just hand tight for a second. Spin it on. Need another towel. Okay. And then the jar is really hot. Spin that lid on super tight. Okay. And then this needs to sit out again on the counter for about 1 hour. You'll start to hear the lids pop, maybe an hour and a half until it's cool, and then it must stay refrigerated. Because we did not go through the true canning process, these need to stay in the refrigerator. Really cute if you want, make some labels for yours, stick them on, put something on them, give them away as gifts.